Hey guys, Andres here. So remember my first Molly Season 2 video? Yeah, I kinda regret making it now. Not because I suddenly disagree with myself, but because A, I sound like I have a gun pointed at my head, B, lots of editing errors, and C,
the forced second act breakup.
But at the same time, I actually needed to make it. Not just for the views, but because as an artist myself, I really needed to express my feelings one way or another to a wide audience, so yeah. Now, for the actual topic of the video, since this season is currently on hiatus, I'm gonna go ahead and rank all the episodes from Molly Season 2A to really show what so far works and what doesn't work in the season. At least not for me. Oh yeah, and if you see some similarities with Shifterless ranking series, that's because I'm mostly taking notes from those, so take this as a disclaimer. And this is my opinion. I am not trying to attack anybody, so I plead you to take this all with a pinch of salt, and don't go making these half-hour long hatred-filled responses to me like what happened with Hightown Films. Got it? Without further ado, let's get started.
Help! I think you've helped quite enough today!
No joke guys, no other episode from this show has pissed me off more than I Want to Dance with Some Ollie. The parallels it has with SpongeBob stuck in the ringer are not only horrifying to think about, but downright insulting. You have one of the main characters being dragged into a life-threatening situation, their best friend who dragged them into said situation just wanted to have fun, the background characters are morally inept, and there's a forced third act breakup. Ha! See? I said it right this time. Yes, I can win. I feel great. Like, yeah right guys, I'm totally worried that the Ghost and Molly McGee, the titular duo, are gonna part ways before starting a much more lighthearted plot later. You know what I would have done? How about make this the episode where both Molly and Scratch figure out Ollie is an actual ghost hunter? And in order to get Scratch involved, how about he's all for Molly having a boyfriend? What if he instead intentionally made the two constantly bump into each other? It would have really shown how far Scratch has grown. After what happened in the season 1 finale, and with him becoming determined as a result, he owes everything to her. And then when he feels he's not needed anymore, bam! That's where he gets trapped. And when Ollie's tracker thingy goes on, then he happily spills the beans that he and his family have it out for the afterlife. And as soon as Molly learns this, she bursts off while freaking the hell out. Remember the scenes when Puss was running away from death in The Last Wish? Exactly like that. And then they do their resolution, yada yada yada. That would have been much more interesting and even still be in line with the overall show. If only, am I right? Because in the actual thing, Molly is fully aware Ollie is dangerous around Scratch. It literally took her 8 episodes to learn to not screw around with this type of shit. And please, do not comment, oh come on, she's 13, give her a break. Being a child, a teenager, or an adult does not fully redeem a character's actions. Azula was 14 and she was still a horrible person through and through. Literally, the 2 saving graces from this episode was the return of Pink Bomb along with a banger song. Like seriously, I'll say what I want about Molly, but the people behind that song slayed. And Daryl. Sorry, but this little gremlin will always be a total riot. And I'll give it this, it is infinitely more rewatchable than Stuck in the Ringer. My god, fuck the Paul Tibbitt era of SpongeBob.
Please keep up on the grass, shine your shoes, wipe your face.
Now, before anything else, I don't hate this episode. I don't even dislike it in the slightest. I just don't relate to it that much. I myself just don't like going on these expensive vacation road trips. But the rest of my family does, so there's that. But with that said, I just love how Sunnyland is a clear parody of the Disney parks. Seriously, what is it with Disney higher-ups letting their own projects make fun of them? I like the message about not having to do everything on your own, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Although, there is one important issue we should address. How freaking strong is Molly? The little dudette is only 13 and she can carry multiple people while barely sweating.
Something strange in your neighborhood.
Oh yeah, now we're talking a good old Scratchy Scheme episode. With a banger track, hilarious Jeff moments, Molly doing this, and then the chins. So yeah, they're easily the worst part of this episode. While I'm glad they're finally getting called out for their behavior, Ollie's redemption just felt ahead of its time. Like, are you telling me that he is willing to throw away all the ideas his dad put in his head for years just for some girl he just met? Also, you gotta wonder the many implications here. How long does Ollie think Molly's been under mind control? How is he still able to sanely communicate after just being scared to death? How is he still convinced that ghosts are some mindless evil entities when he is clearly seeing their human-like antics? And I am not gonna give a pass that he has zero consequences for the shit he did in this episode alone. He stalked Molly, possibly for weeks, recorded himself expressing these sick theories about Scratch with no evidence at all, and dragged both his psychotic family and the Frightmares into a public area. And he only gets like 2 slaps on the wrist. I'm sorry to Molly fans, but this scene when they're both booping Scratch's nose is not funny, or charming, or cute. It's just creepy as hell to look at. And finally, I also didn't like how Libby and Andrea got sidelined here. These are Molly's closest friends, and other than one funny line and one contrived accident, they don't do jack. I know it sounds like I hate this episode, but no, I really don't. I still had fun. And I'm slightly traumatized.
All right, Sprig. New season, new possibilities. I'm ready to blossom into my best self.
The new Paranormal was a decent way to reintroduce the characters and world. You got Scratch becoming the new chairman, the debut of the Frightmares, and the McGees having the new neighbors, who are...
Oh shit, here we go again.
Are you kidding me, Disney? Are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind? Yep, this was the debut of the Chens. Ollie, Ruben, Esther, and June. Not only are their presence and roles all kinds of coincidental and contrived, but why did the writers have to shove in the perfect neighbor family and identical love interest tropes? The 2 tropes I probably hate the most in media. Compare them to Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. Ned is not some perfect saint. He's just a normal guy looking out for his family. It's Homer who sees them as the latter. That's why he's such a dick to him. Too bad his only role nowadays is annoying Bible nerd. With the Chens, however, they're just a typical rich, perfect family who impress the main one in every way. I have a whole theory that suggests that the perfect neighbor thing is actually a facade to build up something sinister in regards to their ghost hunting business, which would, you know, make them interesting antagonists. But as of now, it's nothing more than a theory. And I'm sorry, but Molly or Molliver, whatever, still doesn't work for me. Unless they give Ollie a much more distinctive identity from Molly's, it's not gonna sell me. Overall, good episode with undeniable bumps here and there.
I don't say blah blah blah.
Ah, heck yeah! An episode where Libby has her own spotlight and saves the day. And I didn't mind the Molly content. Not just because the song was a banger, but mostly because they acknowledged they're a toxic pairing. With that said, I didn't like how they nerfed Scratch. He's the leader of the ghost world, and he's easily one-upped by a Dracula imitation. Why? But at least we got Sprite Libby, so bonus points for that.
Quick, we need more soda!
We're all out.
A soda to remember. Like, come on, man. We learn more about Scratch's past, we get an awesome Mission Impossible parody, and I'm calling this Ada girl will turn out to be Jinx at the end. My only 2 gripes with this episode are the convenient obstacles and how weirdly Molly acts here. Like, throughout the whole thing, she's off-puttingly excited to break and enter private property, which can get her in serious trouble. I perfectly understand the don't go her, but here, she just straight up lusts for it. That's saying something since I occasionally picture imitating Puss in Boots. Overall, still a good episode.
That's rough, buddy.
The Unhunting of Brain video. Right off the bat, I love the Ghost Friends theme. And its many references to Sailor Moon, Steven Universe, Mario, you name it. And I like how they didn't key dangle Molly. Rather, all 4, Molly, Scratch, Libby, and Ollie, are all just great friends. And with that in mind, I would dig a scene where 2 or 3 of them clash and then have some heated fight, a la Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know, I just think it'd be cool. And I do like how they're starting to give Ollie somewhat of his own entity outside of copying Molly. Here's my take. Molly is the more daring, adventurous one, and Ollie is the more awkward and slippery one. Remember when Luigi was just the green Mario? And then thanks to the OVA, the Super Shows in Mario 2, he got his own identity? Even going as far as to give him his own series? Why not do that for Ollie? Now, for the weaker parts, Scratch was conveniently nerfed, again. I really didn't care that much for Blair, and I think that's partially because she never shuts up. And I still kinda don't buy Ollie's resolution being as quick as just 2 episodes. Why not wait until the middle of season 2B? Imagine Hunter changing just for meeting Willow. Imagine Zuko changing after meeting that girl from Tales in Ba Sing Se. But for what it was a decent resolution to his character. You can tell Alan Lee gave it his all in this episode. And so there was that.
Who knew I was so delicious? I'm dead!
Oh ho 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 ho, a Daryl-centric episode. Now we're talking. Like, come on, man. It has Wraith Daryl, it has Pete and Sharon celebrating that their mischievous son is a sly, cunning, and crafty genius. Principal McConnell freaking the hell out. And a plot that isn't entirely focused on Molly and Scratch for a change. My gripes is that they show Molly has pretty much learned nothing from Goat Your Own Way, which leads to the actual conflict, but fans did say they found the episode boring, so, you know. Moving on.
Oh, you didn't show up to my wedding because Popeyes was half off that day?
The Afterlife of a Party, finally a Scratch and Jeff-centric episode. Come on guys, it's Jeff, Geoff. Also, turns out he has a fiance, and coincidentally, his name is Jeff, Jeff. And it's all sorts of wholesome. Oh yeah, and Jinx is on the mix. This pink little devil is such a delight to watch. But sorry guys, I still don't want her to be the main antagonist for this season, mostly because
about to enter a world of pain with which you are not familiar.
But she still served as a pretty entertaining antagonist. And plus, I like the fact that Scratch actually confesses his wrongdoings at the end. It shows how far he has matured as a person. My only gripe is that Scratch not noticing the G plus J decorations was also way too contrived, but at least we got a banger song. Next episode.
How about this one? I call it bold and brash. More like belongs in the trash!
Finally, a Sharon-centric episode, and man, do I relate to her struggle here. Which is insane to think about, since moms in media, unless they're the very main character, are usually treated like an obstacle rather than an actual character. Eat your vegetables, clean your room, or I'll take away your video games. The key is writing them as actual people. I really don't like how most kids media present parents in general as these unbreakable authority figures with no personality other than
I'm smart, you're dumb, I'm big, you're little, I'm right, you're wrong.
And going into the episode, I know how it feels to have an artist block. Remember all those drawings I made of Sonic, Donkey Kong, and Luz? Making all of them was a massive hassle, but at the end I finished them and it was worth it. My only problem is how annoying Scratch is throughout the whole thing. I get he grew to appreciate the McGees and even become one himself, but since when is he this clingy with them? Other than that, awesome episode.
Did that come with fries?
Get back here! Slow down! I just want to destroy you!
Sorry, Lord Hater. Did you want the mail?
Oh my god, you guys, this episode gave me so much Wonder Over Yonder vibes. Now, Bob and Bill have said they had no intention of referencing Wander, but come on, the similarities between these two shows are ludicrous. You got the super optimistic do-gooder who's obsessed with helping others and sings a lot, blue best friend slash muscle, highly determined villain lackey who takes their job very seriously, a cloaked skeleton guy with a raspy voice. Both are about the power of friendship. Going into the episode alone, Lord Doom was a freaking riot. Every scene he was in was just hysterical. Also, Chucky reference, and I noticed interesting differences between the aforementioned shows. While Wander just refuses to admit people like Dominator are just downright horrible, Molly acknowledges she can't just change people like flicking a light switch. She did have a season-long rivalry with Andrea after all, and unlike Hater who just never let go of this power-hungry man-child persona, Doom is actually willing to change for the better. With that said, what holds this back for me is how on the nose the message was. But overall, great episode.
This isn't a sleepover, it's a slumber party!
Well, time to piss off the grifters once again. A period places in episode our youth needs. There's nothing wrong with kids learning more about their biology. If anything, you know what is wrong? Refusing to teach them about the roller coaster that will be puberty for them. And the two subplots with Pete, Scratch, and Daryl were just really fun. Like, why is this 11-year-old getting himself into illegal shit? And why is Scratch abusing this poor man's innocence? Come on. I also find it very ironic that Molly thinks Libby and Andrea will just abandon her despite the fact that if it wasn't for her, they'd both be very lost. Though, speaking of which, what holds this episode back is how they never address Andrea targeting bullying at Libby for possibly 7 years. I don't care if they resolve that conflict off screen. It's still a disingenuous way to resolve a character's personal beef. Overall, another great episode.
I come to make an announcement.
Molly McGee.
I was a bitch-ass motherfucker. He pissed on my fucking wife.
Holy shit, that Imports on Demand slapped. Not only does making Andrea this secret tech wizard add more layers to her, but they really knew how to benefit from the idea. Not only was the way they resolved the conflict funny, but we also got the return of Millie! Seriously, where were you, man? Give me some skin.
Yo.
And I think the strongest part about this episode is how they handled Molly and Andrea's dynamic. I like how they're now really good friends and even support each other, yet still having a bunch of bumps here and there. If you're one of those Gravity Falls fans who wish there was a slice of life episode with either Dipper or Mabel getting along with Pacifica, this might be for you. Or just go read Lost Legends, I don't know. Now the question remains, do I ship Melandria? Yeah, kinda, but to an extent, you know? In case the writers, or Disney for that matter, send some crazy Shinobi team at me. Oh ho 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 ho, and that post-credit scene. Please, I beg this show to make whoever this is a prominent villain who acts as a mix between Jack Horner and the High Evolutionary. This could very easily be the top best episode, if not for a certain other episode. I'm finally saying this quote, but sweet baby corn, 100% Molly McGee was a total gem. I didn't think it would turn out this good. It was awesome to see more family members, particularly from Sharon's side. I liked how they didn't do a whole thing where Molly unintentionally hurts Pete's feelings or modern Pixar shit like that. I actually adored Emmy. I was really worried she was gonna be a witch, if you know what I mean, but thankfully no. And the montage was pretty rad, and the instrumentation reminded me of Hot Steppers, so more points for that. Also, I called it! Molly having a look similar to Luffy's second gear. And what makes this episode even more special is its message about biracialism. I may not relate to it myself, but I know this episode clicked with people for a reason. My only sort of gripe is that Molly doesn't introduce Emmy to any of her non-Scratch friends, but well, it's probably due to the runtime. Overall, an amazing episode and my favorite episode from the whole half season. So in conclusion, Molly Season 2 is so far pretty strong. I might still have my gripes here and there, but I'd still recommend anyone a hard watch. And I can't wait to see what Season 2B has to offer. Anyway, that was it for today. Stay faithful and hopeful.
Up, the crab!
Here come the hot stepper. I'm the lyrical gangster. Pick up the crew in the area. Still loving like that. No, we don't die. Yes, we multiply. Anyone press, we hear the fire they sing. Act like you know, we go. I know, don't know. Touch them up and go. Ching. Here come the hot stepper. I'm the lyrical gangster. Excuse me, Mr. Officer.